welcome. We are here for Ashley's Heart Song. This is the place where we get out of the stress and back into our body, our life, and our business. Y'all, when we tap into the song of our heart, that is when we master our mind and the stress that can steal our life. Welcome to today's show. This show is all about that powerful, sacred pause. Because when we pause, we gain so much. We are living in a time where the grind, the busy, the chaos is like a superpower, which it's not, but it's glorified. It's this way of operating that people are adopting that makes it feel like they're getting a lot done and they're getting it done exactly what they want, when in all actuality, in that space of chaos, in the space of stress, in that space of fast, busy, the grind, that is when we mess up. That's when we you've heard me say this before, it's when we bump our head, stub our toe, and drop our keys. Inside of that is where we don't really get things done efficiently because we're operating from our head. And the head brain, yes, it's awesome. You've heard me say this before. The head brain serves a purpose and it's powerful. It is really, really powerful. And yet it can be powerful in a way that actually hinders us. And that is when it is operating from that place of stress, from that sympathetic nervous system response, which is the stress mode, versus the parasympathetic, which is more of the relaxed mode. When we're in that parasympathetic, when we're relaxed, when we're going slow, when we're in the moment, when we're pausing and taking breaths, this is when we get things done efficiently. We get more done in less time. We get insight, creativity, clarity. And you'll find that at the end of your day, when you've been operating more in a parasympathetic versus the sympathetic, which is operating more in the relaxed state versus the stress state, you will find that your day probably went a lot smoother. There was less turmoil, there was less angst, less gripping. You were probably laughed a little bit more. You probably found a little bit more joy in your heart for things that were happening around you. So it truly is powerful, this sacred time of the pause. And so today we're just going to kind of go into that a little bit. And how can we find that pause in our day when we have set up this pattern of fast? When we've been in that pattern of fast and gotten used to how the brain operates in that fast, sometimes it's really hard to get out of it. I'm raising my hand on that one. I spent years in that fast lane, in the busy mindset, in the rush. And inside of that, I was miserable. I was miserable. There was a lot of anxiety that was coming into my body and in my mind and in my life and in my heart, and every aspect of me was feeling that anxiousness, that angst, the unrest. And inside of that, it creates a environment for dis-ease to come into our body. Living inside of that, it creates turmoil within our heart. It creates that space of thinking where you're not sure if you should move ahead or if you should stay put or if you should go sideways, go backwards. We don't, I mean, I'm just going to say this. It's almost like we don't know what to do, how to go about it. We get lost along the way and we lose ourselves in that process. We lose boundaries, and more of what we don't want starts seeping into our life. Living inside that stress state, the rush, the busy, the grind, that invites in things that you don't want in your life. It invites in relationships. It invites in people that are not beneficial for your path moving forward. And that's probably a whole nother topic that we could talk about. But today, I just want to start with the basics that this superpower that we can have when we adopt this sacred space of the pause. Because before we rise, before we can make that change in our life and move forward, we must pause. We must get present. We must be aware. Why? Why is that important? Because otherwise, you won't know where you're going. Otherwise, we don't know our next step. We begin guessing our next step instead of really pausing, tuning in, and getting that insight, getting the creativity and the clarity that comes with it. Emotional resolution for me has been that portal into this sacred time. With emotional resolution, I have found through my 6 years of working with this tool that not only does it relieve my body of the stress chemistry, but it also puts me in that space of greater awareness, greater intuition, greater clarity and creativity. What emotional resolution allows is for us to get rid of that fast, busy mindset. It clears that so that we have space between our thoughts. And we can begin living in that inside of that space between all the other things that are happening in our life. We can begin to live inside that space and gain a much more um, desire for our life and desire for what's coming in for us. So I'm inviting you to notice where your nervous system is asking for stillness. And you may be asking me, well, how does that happen? How does my nervous system let me know when I'm needing stillness? Your nervous system lets you know because you begin doing silly things like you could be crying at the drop of a hat. So I kind of have a funny story to support this. It happened to me just today before the recording of this. I love when content happens like that. Luna is my sweet little bulldog, and she's a little mess. This girl. So every morning we come out, and she has a little pen that's gated off outside the back porch. And that's so that we can keep her more contained and she doesn't have access to the full backyard. And she knows the drill that we get to go out into the big yard because it's early. We get to go out into the big yard and I get settled up with my morning routine, get everything organized for that. She gets to play outside for 5 to 10 minutes before I put her in the smaller pen inside the yard. And so it's time for us to go back to that pen. And I go, come on, Luna, let's go to house. And so we begin walking that way, but her little sniffer gets a hold of something. And her little sniffer is going to town. I'm thinking, what is going on? She won't come when I call her. She's just totally ignoring me, this is not uncommon for Luna. When she gets in that prey drive or her sniffer gets hold of something, it's just like she has deaf ears. Y'all know how that happens in our homes when whatever we're saying, trying to get someone's attention is falling on deaf ears. Well, Luna is like that with me when she's in this drive. Otherwise, she minds me so well. It's very fascinating, but she will not listen. And so I go over there and she has found a little field mice. And the field mice is not running from her, trying to get away, trying to burrow in, nothing. It is just lying there and it's still alive, but you could tell that it's kind of hiding. And I thought, oh, goodness sakes, what's happening here? So I finally get Luna contained and get her inside my studio while I work with that. And my husband is hearing me and he's like, what is going on out there? And I told him, and he goes, well, just get the shovel and walk the field mice out to the back area of our property and throw it there. He said, it'll either heal or a hawk will come by and get it, whatever it is. We don't know how this field mice got injured. I'm thinking a cat. And then we interrupted the cat because it had a little, its gut was a little punctured and it was yucky, but it was still alive. So I'm trying to pick up this field mice, and it's still moving, right? It's still alive. And it's just, I can see its eyes and it's looking at me. Y'all, this is a rat, right? But I'm tearing up. I'm starting to choke back tears. And anything in nature, I am like this on a normal basis. If something in nature is hurt or harmed, it just breaks my heart. And I can begin tearing up and crying. Well, I am choking up, which I know is like a little bit past the healthy, tearing up. This is like, oh my word, what is wrong with me? And so I realized that there was something happening earlier that was getting my nervous system off center. And it was most likely not being able to have the control of Luna to mind me and to go into the house. Luna has been my greatest teacher the last 2 years that I've had her, my greatest teacher. And this is one of those moments. And I thought, wow. So it really gave me an opportunity to notice my nervous system was asking for stillness. It was asking for something because I needed to process what was happening in my life currently and not stuff it, not suppress it, which is what we normally do, right? I mean, are you with me on that? We suppress so much stuff and it gets stored in our tissues and our organs, and then we wonder what's happening with our health later on. Well, it's just a bunch of emotions that are stored inside your tissues. So when we can use something like emotional resolution, there's so many nervous system regulation tools out there. My favorite's emotional resolution because I don't need a practitioner for it. I can do it myself. And when we can do that and we can care for ourselves in the moment, oh, everything opens up and we become lighter, we become freer. So where is your nervous system asking for stillness? Mine did this morning just through that experience. And every day you are getting these signals that your nervous system is needing attention. Your nervous system is asking you to be quiet, to be still, to breathe, to be present and aware, to be inside the senses and just nothing else, to silence the mind. And yet we get so caught up in the grind, in the busy, in the chaos. So I'm encouraging you, I'm inviting you, I'm inspiring you to notice, how are you living your life today? Are you in the grind of it? Or are you ignoring things and suppressing things? Because doing all of that is giving you signs and symptoms in your body that are telling you it's time to pause. It's time to be still. It's time to chill, to chill out. Yeah, like you, I have found myself in that, on the edge of burnout, on the edge of the chaos and the busy wanting to overtake. But it's about remembering to pause, remembering to breathe, remembering to listen. Because that sacred space of the pause is so powerful. It is so powerful that it became the blueprint for Armor Up, which Armor Up is the flagship program inside of my coaching practice. And I I do this in group coaching, retreat setting, a workshop setting, many different settings. I just offer that in different ways so that people can have access to understanding, okay, how can I step into the pause today? How can I lower the stress in my life so I am healthier and more vibrant? How can I add in breathing, deep breathing, conscious breathing, so that I am fueling my body with what it really needs. And that is slow, rest, pause, wonderful nourishment of oxygen, wonderful nourishment of foods that supply that type of nutrient density. But it's truly about tuning in to what is really being asked from your body, from your physical body. Doesn't that feel good? It just feels good just being present with it. So I just want to invite you right now in this moment to pause. Stop with me right now and just pause and take a breath. And you take a breath in through the nose, and then you do a loud exhale like you want to fog a mirror with your exhaled breath. Okay, let's do it again. Breathing in, loud exhale through the mouth, fog the mirror. There's the space between your brow and right up above your brow. It's called the third eye. It's a very important point. And just tap it for a second and take a breath in through the nose. Exhale, fog the mirror. Hold the space between the brow. Inhale again. Fog the mirror. One more time. Inhale. Fog the mirror. Remove your hand and just be present. Think nothing, do nothing, just be present. You don't have to do the fogging the mirror breath anymore. Just breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, just getting yourself centered and present. So you can breathe in for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, in for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. And now just simply relax and just be present. Notice what's happening in your body. Notice what's happening around you through your senses. Don't let your mind work as in thinking. Let your mind be the observer and just be present and do nothing and just be. I invite you to stay with that for several minutes. If your soul is whispering for a reset, then listen and do it. Give it that reset. Join me for the retreats, a workshop, anything at all that can help bring this new way of operating more stable in your life. Let it be a constant, not just an occasional, but really let it be a constant. And you'll find that it will transform your pathway moving forward. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me today for Ashley's Heart Song. Join me again next week as we continue to armor up our lives.